Let's talk about a job. Staying alive in World War II, a time when every day was a test of endurance, ingenuity, and sheer willpower. For soldiers and pilots, survival wasn't just about bravery or tactics, it was about the gear they relied on, the very fabric that stood between them and the elements. But what happens when the tools people had were failing them? Imagine being sent into battle with equipment that couldn't keep you dry, warm, or safe. Gear that was supposed to protect you but instead became a liability. Innovation isn't always born in a lab. Sometimes it's forged in mud and desperation, in the trenches and on the front lines, where necessity pushes people to think differently and act fast. Enter Ventile, a 100% cotton fabric, but not just any cotton. This was a material engineered to be stronger, lighter, and more waterproof than anything else at the time, without a drop of chemical coating. It was a revelation, a fabric that could keep water out while letting the body breathe, and it arrived just when it was needed most. Before you dismiss it as just cotton, remember, soldiers and pilots were stuck with heavy canvas that soaked up water and froze, turning uniforms into icy prisons. These old materials weighed people down, sapped their strength, and sometimes even cost lives, or oil-treated tarps that cracked and rotted, leaving troops exposed to the elements. The so-called solutions of the past were often just new problems in disguise. Ventile changed everything, proving that perfecting something natural can outdo the synthetic. It was a triumph of design, showing that with the right approach, even humble cotton could become a miracle material. This wasn't a minor upgrade, it was a leap in textile technology, born from necessity. The development of Ventile required not just scientific know-how, but also the dedication of countless textile workers and engineers who refused to accept defeat. Imagine being a pilot ditching into the freezing Atlantic. Ventile's threads literally wove extra minutes of life. Those precious moments could mean the difference between rescue and tragedy, between hope and despair. It's a story of hands-on ingenuity with life-or-death consequences. Every stitch, every thread, was a testament to the determination to save lives, not just win battles. We'll pull back the curtain on this unsung hero, tracing the journey from failing old gear to Manchester's breakthrough, where a city's textile legacy met wartime urgency and changed the course of survival gear forever. And we'll see how Ventile performed in the harshest environments, from the icy waters of the Atlantic to the frozen tundra, proving its worth not just in war, but in the wildest places on Earth. Sometimes the best solution is right under our noses. It just takes a crisis to see it. Ventile's story is a reminder that innovation can come from the most unexpected places, and that even in the darkest times, human creativity can weave miracles. To truly appreciate the impact of Ventile, you first have to understand just how dire the situation was for soldiers and airmen during World War II. The conditions they faced were not just uncomfortable, they were often life-threatening, and the gear they relied on was woefully inadequate for the challenges at hand. In the early 1940s, Allied military gear was bulky, heavy, and almost impossible to move in when wet. The thick wool and canvas uniforms soaked up water like sponges, weighing soldiers down and making every step a struggle, especially in the mud and rain of European battlefields. Canvas tents, meant to provide shelter, became waterlogged and sagged under the weight of constant rain. In tropical jungles, the relentless moisture caused them to rot away in a matter of weeks, leaving troops exposed to the elements and disease. In the Arctic, things were even worse. Oil-treated tarps, designed to repel water, would freeze solid in the bitter cold, cracking and shattering when handled. Canvas gear became stiff as boards, impossible to use, and left soldiers dangerously vulnerable to the freezing temperatures. For these men, the battle wasn't just against the enemy ahead, it was also against their own failing equipment. Every day was a fight for survival, not just from bullets and bombs, but from the relentless assault of rain, mud, and cold. For RAF pilots, the risks were even more immediate. If their planes went down over the sea, their standard-issue flight suits offered almost no protection. The heavy waterlogged fabric dragged them under, and the icy water sapped their body heat in minutes, turning a crash into a death sentence. Survival time in the water was measured in mere minutes, and tragically the very gear meant to protect them was often what sealed their fate, speeding up the clock on their lives. This wasn't just a matter of discomfort or inconvenience, it was a deadly flaw that cost countless lives. The need for better protection was urgent and undeniable. The British military recognized the crisis and knew they needed a solution, and they needed it fast. The safety and effectiveness of their forces depended on it. The call went out for something revolutionary, gear that was lighter, tougher, and truly waterproof, able to withstand the harshest conditions without weighing soldiers down or putting them at risk. The answer wouldn't come from chemical coatings or heavy materials, but from a surprising place: the humble loom. A new kind of fabric was about to change everything. The RAF's desperate call landed with textile researchers at Manchester's Shirley Institute. Their mission: create a fabric to keep pilots alive in freezing water. They turned to the best material they had: long staple Egyptian cotton. The idea: weave these superior fibers in a new, ultra-dense way to create something never seen before. Through relentless experiments with weave density and thread count, they pushed the limits of cotton. The goal: a fabric so dense it blocked wind and water yet stayed breathable. Finally, they succeeded, spinning and weaving cotton into an incredibly tight, dense fabric. They called it Ventile, a barrier against the elements, but still ventilated. No new plastics, just unlocking cotton's hidden potential. Manchester's team had changed the odds for thousands of airmen. What made Ventile special? Why did this fabric, developed in the midst of wartime necessity, become a legend among outdoor enthusiasts and survival experts? It's all in the engineering, a blend of natural material and human ingenuity, refined to perfection. Start with the world's finest Egyptian cotton, prized for its long, silky fibers. These are spun into strong, smooth yarn, creating a base that's both durable and luxuriously soft to the touch. The magic happened on the loom: up to 400 threads per square inch, woven tighter than most modern fabrics. This density is what gives Ventile its unique properties, making it both tough and flexible. When dry, Ventile acts as a shield against the wind, yet it remains breathable, allowing sweat and moisture to escape. This means you stay comfortable, even during intense activity or changing weather. But the real genius reveals itself when the fabric gets wet. The cotton fibers swell, expanding and locking together so tightly that they seal the fabric's pores. Water can't get through. The fabric itself becomes a waterproof barrier. There's no need for synthetic coatings or plastic membranes. Once the rain stops and the fabric dries, the fibers shrink back, the pores reopen, and the cloth regains its original softness and breathability. There are no coatings to crack, peel, or wear off over time. Ventile's performance is built right into its structure, making it long-lasting and reliable. It's a self-sealing reversible system, simple, reliable, and truly revolutionary for its era. And even today, nature's own properties, harnessed and enhanced to solve a man-made problem. It's a perfect example of working with, not against, the natural world. No fancy chemistry, just water and cotton, working together in harmony to create something extraordinary. That's the genius of Ventile. A fabric that's as elegant in its simplicity as it is effective in the wild. Sometimes, the best solutions are the simplest, born from nature, perfected by human hands, and trusted for generations. The RAF put Ventile to the test. Survival suits made from it gave downed pilots up to 20 extra minutes in freezing water. That time meant the difference between life and death. Ventile's success spread quickly. Ground troops saw its potential too. In the Arctic, it stayed soft and flexible, shedding ice and snow while keeping out wind and letting sweat escape. In the desert, lighter Ventile blocked sand and wind but didn't trap heat. It performed in both extremes, cold and hot, like few fabrics ever have. In the jungle, it resisted rot and mold, outlasting canvas by far. It stayed light, didn't get waterlogged, and was tough enough for improvised stretchers or ground cloths. From Arctic to jungle, Ventile was more than fabric. It was a survival tool. A single material, countless uses. By war's end, Ventile had earned cult status among those who relied on it. It was tougher, more reliable, and more comfortable than anything else. This reputation didn't fade. Post-war explorers and mountaineers adopted it. Ventile jackets became the unofficial uniform for adventurers, even on Everest's first ascent. Wildlife photographers loved its silence. No noisy crinkle, just soft, quiet movement. It blended into nature, was tough as nails, and wouldn't melt near a campfire. Ventile aged gracefully, lasting decades and becoming more comfortable over time. Its legacy, not disposability, but rugged, steadfast reliability, the kind of gear you trust for a lifetime. In a world of high-tech fabrics, you'd think Ventile would be obsolete, but it's not. Outdoor enthusiasts and survivalists still choose it for its toughness, silence, and breathability. Unlike synthetics that can trap sweat or delaminate, Ventile's single-layer cotton is tough and easy to repair. Tear it, sew it up and keep going. It's not the lightest, but it's comfortable, quiet, and won't melt by the fire. For those who value reliability and natural feel, Ventile stands apart. Sometimes the old ways really are the best. In a disposable world, Ventile is a quiet reminder of lasting quality. Before eco-friendly was a buzzword, Ventile was quietly sustainable. Made from 100% cotton, it's natural, renewable, and biodegradable. No petrochemicals, no forever chemicals, just cotton and clever engineering. When it finally wears out, it returns to the earth. Unlike synthetics that linger for centuries. Its waterproofing comes from structure, not coatings. The most sustainable product is the one you don't have to replace. Ventile jackets last decades. Less waste, fewer resources used, and a smaller footprint. In a world obsessed with the new, Ventile proves that true sustainability is timeless design and quality. It was an eco-warrior by accident, a lesson we need now more than ever. Authentic Ventile is pricey, but its spirit of ingenuity is for everyone. You can make your own rugged, water-resistant fabric at home. Start with dense, untreated cotton canvas or linen. High thread count is key. Mix boiled linseed oil and beeswax, warm gently, and brush a thin coat onto the fabric. Stretch it out to cure for several days. Don't rush, or you'll get a sticky mess. For a softer finish, use several thin coats, letting each dry before the next. The result, a tough, water-resistant fabric that won't rip or degrade like plastic tarps. It's not Ventile, but it's reliable, durable, and made by your own hands. A piece of gear with character, a tribute to Ventile's legacy. Sometimes, the best solutions are the ones you build yourself.